Alright, well that's good enough for me. You know, you figure there might be more conversations since she drugged us and all, but, you know, she did save our life after that, so maybe that's fine. Now, if the game so far has given you a rough estimate of its pacing and budget, you might figure that we're near the end of the game. And, well, that's true, we are very near the end of the game, but we have a lot of challenging hurdles to jump through before we get there. And if this game seems short, I don't blame you, but you should go ahead and take all the video lengths of these videos combined and double them, because that's about how long it takes to figure out where everything is. And since this game has a lot of puzzles, you have to count figuring out the puzzles as part of the gameplay time. In this room on the 4th floor is a door that we couldn't get through with Sarissa because Sarissa doesn't have our bombs, and she can't open the door. It has to be blowed up. We should only bomb it from the left side, because on the right side is a toxic container that if we blow up will just spill that toxic gas all over the room. And in here we have some pretty crucial stuff. We have an extra speed chip, the senior executive ID, and some new biochip files. This biochip file is one of the very few that is required to beat the game, so if you leave it behind, you're gonna get stuck. Let's go ahead and maximize our loadout for range and speed, why don't we? Because we're gonna need that later. So this has been a really weird game so far, huh? I'm not sure what genre you would call this exactly. At first glance, it's definitely an action game, but you do a lot more puzzle solving than you do hitting things. Anyway, with the senior executive ID, we now have access to the rooms down here. We couldn't access these even with the executive ID. This second set of biochip files isn't nearly as important as the first. It's somewhat useful, I'm sure, but we're never going to use it. When we look at it, we can see it's meant to place a wall between us and the projectiles that the enemies fire at us. You might figure this would be especially useful during boss fights, but you want to save your EP energy for actually attacking them. We're actually not that far from another boss fight, and there's something about short Japanese games having a lot of boss fights. I mean, look at Silhouette Mirage, that has a solid, what, 20, if I remember the count correctly? There's not a lot for us on the lower floors of the control lab, we just need to head further downward, though in the corner there is yet another biochip. It's a jump chip, just in case you missed the one from earlier. This place is just full of items. We're not going to need that revolver, though. I'm not sure why it put it there. Alright, creepy doctor guy, it's time to face the music. Alright, let's go ahead and equip that second speed chip, and this boss can be a bit of a doozy. Before we can actually deal damage to him, we have to take out the 4 generators in the corner of the room. In his first phase, he can fire grenades out in a spread pattern, or he can shoot a laser across the ground. We can jump over the laser, but not the bombs so easily. The reason the speed chip was important is because the generators slowly regenerate, and if we don't take them all out in time, then his shield will come back up before we get the chance to hurt him. We can only damage it by bombing its legs, and only when its legs are in a certain position. And I recommend having the range chips equipped for this, so that way you actually manage to hit the correct hitbox. Sometimes when you hit it, it will release little miniature drones that will chase you around and fire bullets at you, and those tend to hurt quite a lot. I recommend jumping over them or avoiding them in general, because wasting your bombs on them is a bad idea. Anyway, after you manage to bomb it enough times, it eventually enters a second phase. Both phases have a lot of slowdown. In the second phase, instead of those scatter bombs, the thing shoots homing missiles, which are, well, they're about as equally difficult to deal with. They do chase you around pretty viciously, unlike the scatter bombs, but also unlike the scatter bombs, you can smash them into walls or the mech itself in order to stop them from chasing you. You do not need to change the area that you bomb, just always keep bombing its legs, because that's the only way you can hurt it. Even if you're doing really, really well, this boss fight can go on for upwards of 6 minutes. So just because you figured out the pattern, don't think that means you're in the clear. You better have brought a lot of health items. And if you get stuck, you can always grind health items from those robot walkers in the lab.
You never cease to amaze me.
So, I guess it's your turn next. Huh? What's that? Damn!
What? It's quite futile, you know. The thing's designed in such a way that you can't destroy it.
Oh! Shit!
You might as well give up, you know. Now, let us proceed to the archaeological site. We have recovered the stone.
There's one item of business to take care of first.
What? Why?
It's plenty enough for just one man to have that power. As for you, you can watch me gain the power.